What's up, fanboys and fangirls? Welcome back to another episode of TV Talk. This week we are talking about Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, Episode 6. Guys, things really started happening this week.
They did. Yes, they did.
We kicked it up a notch.
Or two.
Or three.
Yeah, or three.
Yeah.
Three, probably.
Probably three.
Probably
at
three,
least.
at minimum.
Mm-hmm. Would you guys, real quick before we get into spoilers, which this will be a spoiler-filled discussion, just as a forewarning, what'd you guys think kind of of the episode?
I'm giving it 2 thumbs up. 2 thumbs up. I liked it a lot. It was really fun. It was nice to, as you say, tick it up a bit, get into a little bit more of the action, just get to see some of these characters we've really liked all season long end up in the same place.
Yeah. Luke?
Yeah. I freaking love this show so much, and I freaking love this episode. I thought it was amazing. I was engrossed and excited, and I was loving every second of it.
One of the things I've learned to keep an eye out for is a "oh yeah" text from Luke. If I get that, I usually get pretty excited about Rings of Power. Yeah, that's what we got Thursday night, and I was like, it's gonna be a good weekend.
It's gonna be a good time.
Because I don't watch until Sunday nights, so
I don't know how you deal with yourself.
I don't know. I watch Thursday night. I watch it knowing that I'll probably be up till 2 a.m. Mainly, it might rile me up. It's like, well, I'm not going to bed tonight, but I'm watching it. And that was one. I was up pretty late that night.
I will. I will be the Debbie Downer of the group and say that it was not my favorite episode. I am glad that we did have some real momentum happen. The show has been fairly slow paced, but no Harfoots, so 0 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just kidding. That's a joke.
the 0 out of 10 part's the joke.
The 0 out of 10 part's the joke. I am sad that we only focused on one storyline. We got a lot, and like I said, I think like what you said,
it converged 2 storylines though.
That's true. It did. We did get kind of the convergence of 2 storylines. That's fair. I'll retract my statement a little bit then.
That's fine.
And say that I didn't feel like the pacing of these 2 storylines coming together felt real good for me. I liked a lot of what they did. I even have a ton of positives about the episode, but it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like it's on the scale it needs to be for me to. But part of it is I don't know how much they want me to.
See, what he did was he set his expectations where they shouldn't be instead of just enjoying.
Yeah, shame on
it's
me.
It's your fault you didn't like
shame
it.
on
as
me.
We've come to know that if you don't like something,
it's all on
it's
me.
your own fault.
No, I like a lot of what we do, especially at the beginning. Yeah.
I was telling Brett this prior. Prior to the start of the show that you had texted me immediately after you finished it and said Brett won't like it.
Do I just come off as the big nerd who dislikes I do enjoy. I enjoy this series. I just don't think it's on the level of what. I don't think it's on the level of either series of the movies. I'll say it. I don't even think it's as good as The Hobbit.
Wow. That's, I think, a little ridiculous.
So far. I'll say so far. Because one of the things I think, my big negatives right now for the show is that it doesn't feel like it's the scale of it. The Southlands feels like maybe 2 little towns. Why is there a king for 2 little towns? The army the orc army kind of looked big at the end of last episode. We saw a whole line of but this episode we see maybe 25, 30, maybe 50 kind of on screen at once. It just doesn't feel big, like this is the battle over a land, like a country type of thing, to me. And so the stakes aren't there because it just kind of feels like they're squabbling over some farmland.
You mean like...
And we need Numenor to come save that?
But Numenor sends, like, what, 3 boats?
It's supposed to be 300 troops, but does it ever feel like 300 troops?
I don't think it feels that big or small, really. I think it feels like about right for what they send.
No. I think for the conflict, you're right. Like, they feel it feels like the appropriate response, but I think in my head, or how I imagined this going, it was going to be a bigger battle than it is. Not, Minas Tirith, Return of the King, 30,000 combatants on either side, but, maybe somewhere closer to Helm's Deep.
Sorry, I just think... I feel so opposite of that.
And that's fine. That's just where I'm at with it.
Because here's the problem. I'm going to give... Obviously, you can definitely have your opinions of the show, and it's fine. Like, you don't have to like it, you don't have to love it, you can totally hate it, it's fine. But it's like, I feel like it's the same problem with every fandom now. People set up these expectations comparing it to old stuff, or other stuff that's going on. It happened with Star Wars. People went into Last Jedi thinking exactly what they thought it was going to be, and then most people hated it.
I don't mind them subverting expectations, though.
That's me.
This doesn't feel like subversion of expectations.
No. Not subversion. Just not what you, like, story-wise. Oh my, like, people are always theorizing and doing everything.
Oh, sure.
And then when it's not that, they're like, what the heck is this? This isn't what they said it was going to be.
Oh, but I'm not complaining about the plot points at all. In terms of, like, what's happening, I'm fine with it. I just don't think that it has felt as epic as what Lord of the Rings tends to set itself up to be. And maybe that is a problem with what's come before. I think the main trilogy did great. The Hobbit, I think, maybe went overboard on trying to replicate that.
I think The Hobbit, while I enjoy The Hobbit a lot, it comes across as cartoony.
Sure, I mean, it's a kid's book.
And plus, as far as...
It's a children's novel that they're trying to make into R-rated movies.
That was always super weird. As far as Rings of Power goes, we're 6 hours into 40.
I mean, this is
like
the setup season.
Yeah.
So...
Like, we're, 10% into it, maybe? 20 at least?
I wouldn't sit here and say that it's bad. I just don't think that it's lived up to what... I think Lord of the Rings, much like Star Wars, much like Marvel these days, that brand name does carry some expectations with it. And personally, I just don't think it's quite met that. That said, there's a lot to like. Can we talk about some of the awesome things in this episode?
Like everything?
Like everything?
I land with Luke with like everything.
I'm like the opposite of Brett. I've loved the pacing of the show so far, and I felt like it's just been like this little brewing pot of something's gonna happen, and then
I think
the battle, like, it converged some stuff,
sure.
And then it all led to, honestly, stuff I wasn't expecting necessarily in this episode, and some stuff at all. Like, something I loved in this episode was the tunnels.
Yeah,
they just felt like tunnels throughout the whole show, and they're actually really
there's
really
like
good.
a trench to get to.
It didn't feel like just wasted stuff.
That was great.
Yeah.
It's on my Mount Doom's eruption / use of tunnels and my positives.
Mm-hmm.
I literally was like, oh man, I didn't even think.
Yeah,
really
when
smart.
It ended, I leaned over to Dana. I was like, they really did that. It was under our nose the whole time.
Yeah,
the whole time. It was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just loved how even like the episode in itself was like Arondir at the tower, like tiny little battle real quick.
Yeah.
And you have the village standoff a little bit bigger. And then it turns out that like they only killed their friends or ex-friends, whatever. And like the battles just get bigger and bigger throughout, and then eventually Numenor shows up, and they're just like slapping them all. I thought the build up in the episode was so well done with twists and turns and good character moments throughout.
And I think, not to go back to what you're saying about like the size of it, but I think what makes it for me more like I don't think of it that way, but I think they help themselves in how like Adar sent people in waves, kind of.
Sure.
So there's a wave of people at the first tower. There's the humans that they send in with a few orcs in a wave, and then there's the final push of orcs at the end.
Yeah.
So like while the army on screen all at once doesn't look as big, I mean they obviously had enough to send 3 waves of troops in.
Yeah.
And so like I think that helps break it up and make it still feel big.
It's a way to influence the pacing, and at the same time, you're right.
Yeah.
Extend that encounter to not just be an hour of. I think Game of Thrones is often does this thing where it's like we're just gonna have kind of a bunch of bodies smashed together for 30 minutes, and they don't do that here, which is nice.
Yeah, and I just think it helps break it up. I think the other thing that kind of comes to my mind is, and we've reached this point in time where we've kind of forgotten this whole season was shot in the pandemic.
Oh yeah, yep.
So like they can't really have billions of people quite yet, and so I think I kind of in the back of my mind I'm like, yeah, that'll come.
Sure,
we'll get there.
That's fair. Yeah, it's a good.
But
point.
no, I really did the tunnel thing, man. I just was so kind of blown away by that, and the whole thing that it leads up to with Mount Doom.
Yeah.
Mountain went boom.
That was awesome. That was so cool.
It was really well done.
Was it you that jokingly said that, or was it you that like the key would like?
You thought it was going to be a key to Mount Doom.
To Mount Doom.
Yeah.
And like you were kind of right.
I was like, somebody said it, and I was like, when it happened, I was like, no way, we talked about.
I think,
and I feel like I was kind of right too, because I was like, I don't think it's going to be a key to a door.
Yeah.
And it just blew up the dam. Like.
Yeah. No, I thought it was a really clever way of doing that. I have minor issues with that in other like for other reasons that we won't get into because we don't have that much time to talk about them. But I did think that was really cool visually. I thought it was a fantastic way of getting Mount Doom to actually like erupt, and it kind of goes hand in hand with one of the other things I really liked, which was Adar's motivations when he's interrogated by Galadriel. Even at the beginning of this episode, we see him we see more character with him. He's not just a bad guy. You can tell there's that elvish heritage, that tradition that he still holds onto.
Yeah. I like the way they tied that together too.
Yeah.
Because I was like, what's he?
Yeah. But that he actually has some, some sense of. There is like a familial thing. They call him, Adar, as in like father.
Yeah.
And there's like the familial thing there. He's looking out for these, brothers or children of his that, whether or not he's like a good judge of character and morals is another discussion. But, he's doing this for them, trying to make a place where they can live. I don't know how much of that's him buying time and lying to Galadriel, and how much of it is him being genuine. He has some lines about killing Sauron. He did.
Sauron was in this episode. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah. I do like that they didn't kill him. Because I do really like that character a lot. I think the other thing you were saying, he has like that familial sense. I think he has a little bit of a sense of honor almost to like the elves. I don't know. I find it interesting that he's like come to this point where he is, and he still holds true. So it's almost like he can be redeemed at some point, or he can make the right choice at some point.
And it's an interesting kind of mirror to Galadriel, who is kind of gets a little supervillainy when talking about, I'm going to keep you alive and let you watch all of your friends die before I kill you, and I will eviscerate every last orc. I wasn't a huge fan of that little speech, but I think they do that to let us know that this is bad. Like, we're supposed to feel uncomfortable with
Yeah.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's gonna lead up to her eventually getting a ring,
Yeah.
and probably not gonna go so well. There's a reason she's not helping a whole lot in the Lord of the Rings movies. Like, that's a very poignant scene with her and Frodo
Yes.
at the well.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, for
Yes.
sure.
I think, when we get to theories, Luke, there's something you said a while back, and I want to revisit that. Because I think there's some pretty good stuff there with the hilt, as it pertains to kind of some of what we're talking.
Yeah.
But
I think my favorite part of this episode, it was very small and it was near the beginning, but it's Galadriel's conversation with Isildur and Elendil on the ship. That just felt so much like Lord of the Rings to me. And it was a little bit of a glimpse of a Galadriel who's not so
Consumed with vengeance.
yeah,
kill everything in my path, right? It was someone who's like, oh no, like there's honor in people, and you are you're that hope of Numenor, right?
Mhm.
You're Numenor, the real Numenor did exist, and just because you see the political or cultural changes that you're unhappy with now, like that still lives in you. Very similar to what she ends up saying, the kind of thing to give Frodo hope in Fellowship of the Ring.
Mm-hmm.
I like that a lot.
And just like
that was
the father-son relationship with Isildur and Elendil I'm loving it.
Yeah.
Their little conversation, like after the battle,
With Beric.
with the horse. Yeah.
Yeah.
it was good.
And I like we're getting a little more about his mother, which is, by the way, in the books, any of them, she's like non-existent. She's an unnamed character, so it's nice to be able to see that they're not just leaving that blank. They are building in
They're taking
some character motivation through, what they do. Also, when he was like, she drowned. For like a seafaring culture, that's just got to be like the worst thing,
Yeah.
right? And then she loves horses, so like,
Brett's
see
heart-
that part of I love that part of this episode.
Brett's a hater.
Galadriel's also got the moves.
He's just okay.
Man.
So this is something I want to touch on.
Her dodging things.
Just
Yeah.
the stunts, the stunt work in this episode,
It's pretty good.
I thought was super good.
Yeah.
Like her stuff on the horse, but then also whoever was the stunt person for Arendir who fell off a building and they got thrown through a fence. Freaking props. That was really good.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed that fight scene.
I like it. Real quick, just before we move on to theories, how do we feel about Halbrand's little mini storyline? How are you guys feeling about that? You liking Halbrand? Are we?
I like it 'cause I like-
ringing more Sauron warning meter going off.
No,
or-
zero warning on the meter for Halbrand. I like his story because I know where it's going. I am so bought into my theory with him.
Oh, you've got a theory.
He's
Okay.
building himself as a king,
Uh-huh.
and eventually he's going to get connected to his people, and then he's going to be like, I don't want to watch all my people die. We are gone.
Oh yeah. So
Cursed in the mountain.
Back to your curse in the mountain.
I'm
theory.
so bought in
I
on
like it. I like it.
My
Um,
Sauron meter is going off.
Yeah.
I think it's him.
I think he's playing 4D chess or
I think
5D
he's
chess
sitting
here.
under her nose. Just the
Keep
whole
your
time.
enemies close,
Yeah.
or your friends close and your enemies closer, kind of thing.
And I think there's too much effort to convince you it's not.
Not him.
Like they're starting to be like, yeah, he's the king. He's this, he's doing the right things. It's like,
Mhm.
no, I think it's him. I think the nail in the coffin for me was like, is this the king we're promised? And then it gets turned into freaking Mordor like minutes later. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's him.
Yeah.
He's the leader in the clubhouse for me.
If it's, I think thematically it makes a lot of sense too, as Aragorn in the Lord of the Rings is kind of that king who is promised on the side of good. I think this is kind of the reverse of that.
Because he's the quote unquote Aragorn character.
Right.
Yeah.
It's him, like, but fun twist, actually.
Yeah.
The king who is promised the bad guy.
And I just think it would make so much sense for Sauron to just be sitting right next to the character that is
100%.
hunting him. I just feel like that fits so well.
Yeah.
With everything they've set up within the show.
He has a line, I don't remember exactly what it was. He has a line during his little chat with Galadriel after the interrogation that was like, that's very Sauron-y. Also, he's mad at, I guess, I just put this together. He's, like, pissed off at Adar, and Adar doesn't recognize him, but Adar also may have, as JD said, he split Sauron open. Like, that could be that, you know, what if your general betrayed you? Would you want to kill him? Probably.
Right.
But he stays his hand because Galadriel says to, and he waits another move.
He has to keep that facade alive.
Yeah.
I also think and it's intentional, again, the, like, who are you line, and he just kind of stops and walks away.
Yep.
It's like,
yep.
I think they did a little bit of, we want you to think it's him, then we're going to give you a reason not to think it's him, then we're going to give you a reason to think it is him. I think they're just playing too much with that character to not actually do it.
Greatest possible thing that could happen in episode 10. He just gets, like,
just
killed off, and Sauron, it's...
By Sauron?
Yeah, by Sauron.
Like, oh.
He's just, like, sitting there, and then Sauron just walks up, like, what's up, mother?
It actually states that.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, I have a question,
and
this is going to lead into the most stupid theory I have that I will fully trust in until it's debunked.
I love it. Let's go.
With Sauron's shapeshifting, does it have to be a human?
No.
Beric is Sauron. The horse. They put a lot of focus on that horse, and then all of a sudden the horse is gone.
I will say the other thing, too, is they were very... I'm going to add credence to your theory. They were very intentional about showing the cut on the horse.
Yeah. The cut, and then even, Beric, where did you go?
I wonder if we'll meet a character who has a scar or something like on his shoulder or like right here or something that's like very akin to that. And
I
love it.
I'm so bought into it.
That is a fun theory.
JT even has a question about the horse freaking out because of his feelings or the rush of water under the ground. No, I think it's because he's Sauron.
He's Sauron.
That's pretty good. That is a good theory.
He's like, my volcano is about to wake up.
Yeah, he's like all excited. Kind of like those dogs that like shimmy. Yeah.
Shake the booty a little bit.
No, I like it. No, what I wanted to come back to really quickly, you had mentioned the hilt being brought down and turned into a ring or, forged into something at some point. And I think Theo's kind of discussion with Arondir at the end of the episode where he's like, I feel like sense of loss since he's been kind of disconnected from it.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, that's definitely one of them. Because what did the ring do to everybody who encountered it?
My precious.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
So it's like, are we starting to see that?
There's something about that.
That alloy or that metal that is doing it. And yeah. Interesting. The other thing,
I feel like they should have gotten me on that bait and switch. Or shouldn't have gotten me.
Yeah.
But I totally fell for it.
Yeah.
He zoomed away. Adar zoomed away, and I was like, man, they better get that sword hilt key back. Never even had it. And I was like, oh my god, I'm an idiot.
Oh.
Yeah.
They were playing checkers while I was watching.
You were playing Connect 4.
No, I was watching Queen's Gambit.
Tyler, any other
I had
theories
another thing, but I totally spaced on what I was going to... Oh, the other thing, to go back to Halbrand being Sauron.
Yeah.
He's a smith.
Yeah. Dude, all of the pieces over there, it's just a matter... I wonder if it's one of those things they filmed this two ways.
Oh.
And maybe they waited till test screenings to, play out which way it goes.
Maybe.
They just started shooting season 2.
I saw that
today, so
in the UK.
Yeah, with some of it's gonna be in New Zealand, I guess.
I think they did.
That's nice.
Some of that already, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they did it like back to back.
A little bit. But
man, how long do you guys think we're gonna have to wait for season 2 of this show?
Probably a year.
Probably a year. I would guess that
turnaround on shows is so much faster.
Production is going to go so much faster this time
Yeah,
than
that's
last,
probably
and
true.
yeah,
I'm still sad it's gonna be that long.
yeah, me
So I'm
too.
really enjoying it.
Me too.
Yeah, he says I have a task for you, and it's the creepy Waldrig dog.
Yeah, yeah.
That's right.
And then Numenor shows up, and it cuts away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the only weird thing to me was like Numenor's riding in daytime. They're in the little base at the nighttime, and then like everything collides. It's like early morning.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, whoa.
Some of the
I just
timing
was like kind
of
of caught off
things.
guard by it.
Well, yeah,
It
I've
didn't
kind of
like
given
take
up
away.
on.
It was just like weird.
I've given up on like caring about how long it should take for things to happen.
Right.
Because it's TV. It's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I have any like hot predictions for next episode.
I think we
Or
get the
coming up.
Gandalf reveal next week for the penultimate.
I'm wondering. Ooh,
And then we
okay.
meet Sauron for the first
He's
time.
gonna
finale.
beat the snot out of those mystics. They're gonna be like, "We are friends again."
I'll go with Balrog next episode for penultimate.
And Gandalf will stumble
And
across
Gandalf
it
will
and
be
like,
in
hey,
final.
hey, I think I'm gonna see a few of these over my lifetime.
I just know we're getting more Harfoot stuff next week, so I'm
Yes.
10 out of 10 already.
I love it. I love your commitment to that.
Oh, yep.